And NZvAust2 has 6 of those trips herself. She's 1 away from being done with this game already. Over on the Australian side, 16 trips. Tui Lyon with 4 of those herself, so a little bit of danger there. But yeah, big penalty differential, and I think that's showing on the scoreboard a fair amount, Tara.
Yes, and hopefully New Zealand used their halftime break to recenter themselves, gather themselves, breathe deep, relax. It's okay.
Sort of the opposite of the hack. Instead of getting pumped up, you get calmed down.
A little bit, yeah, exactly. It's like they sent all that energy out. Now they need to bring that energy back in. We are back to the game on the cheese ball bearing start line. It is number 14, Christy Demons, jamming for Australia in green. She's already out, and Lee Jammer.
Ivy getting out of the pack as well. Christy Demons with 18 points in the first half for Team Australia.
And look at the pack. This is the fastest pack I have seen in a long time.
It's a hustle pack.
We've seen a lot of slow packs this weekend. Not right now. This is kind of amazing. Christy Demons getting a smack to the face, and therefore a high block is being called on 0-4. Renee Brown for New Zealand. She takes a seat in the notorious RED penalty box at the end of that jam.
2 points aside. New Zealand also able to steal 2, so that high block taking 2 minutes and taking 30 seconds into the penalty box, but also enough of a distraction to slow down that call off, getting 2 points of her own. So maybe worth it. Never want to hit anyone in the head, but
back on the cheese ball bearing start line, number 505 Mad Mel Arena for Australia getting taken back, and number 38 Evil Knievel going to the notorious RED penalty box for a high block. This is now a power jam advantage for Mad Mel and Team Australia.
Penalty troubles continuing for New Zealand early on in this second half. Evil Knievel had 2 points in the first half. Mad Mel Arena laid jammer 26 points in the first half for Australia.
Jordan Leah Perore now on her way to the penalty box for a forearm. So apparently whatever New Zealand did at halftime, unfortunately they are still on the same trajectory that they had in the first half. It'll be interesting to see what develops in the second half of this game, especially as Mad Mel comes up on another scoring pass for Australia. Gets pushed out of bounds by Renee Brown, number 04. Renee Brown on her way to the penalty box. I think that was for a clockwise block.
Finally out of the pack is Evil Knievel for New Zealand. Only 1 blocker left on the track for New Zealand. That's Hannah Jennings. Staying nice calming presence out there for her team. Standing out there all by herself. 5 points for Australia. 137 for Australia now. 20.
Oh, they just lied. They just changed the score. It's 142 for Australia to New Zealand's 20. Of course they do that.
I'm either too quick on the call or they're too slow on pushing the buttons. I'm not sure which. I'll give the credit to the NSOs.
We'll say that they're too slow to update the scoreboard. It can't be our fault.
Shortstop's lead jammer in this game. Lead jammer in this jam as well. She has 65 points in the first half, looking to add to that total.
She's going up against number 54, Lady Trample for New Zealand, who is still stuck on her initial pass, trying to get through the braced 2-wall there at the front of the pack. She just got lapped. That is 5 points for number 6, shortstop for Team Australia. Tui Lyon going back to the notorious RED penalty box. She is the pivot in this jam.
Playing with fire, Tui Lyon is. Shortstop going to call that off, the pride of the Canberra Roller Derby League. Getting more points for Australia. Nothing on that final call off, but Australia now at 151 to the 20 of New Zealand.
26 minutes, 20 seconds left in this game. We have 0-10 Giles lining up about 10 feet behind the cheese ball bearing start line. Going up against number 4,000, Anna Paviova for New Zealand. New Zealand has the back wall going in. Anna Paviova attacks the Australian front wall, but it is Giles who makes it. Oh, I thought she made it out, but no, she got a forearm penalty. She is now on her way to the notorious RED penalty box. This is now a power jam advantage for Anna Paviova and New Zealand.
Anna Paviova was able to pick up 5 points for New Zealand in the first half. Golden opportunity for the jammer the Kiwi Jammer fighting up against Biceptual at the front of the pack. Nice bridge by Polly Crackers. And if she stands up, she did. She came back in. It's a track cut.
She had one toe stop out of bounds. Oh, very painful for New Zealand. Oh my goodness. So she takes a seat in the notorious RED penalty box. Giles back on the track for Team Australia. She gets around that back wall of New Zealand, making it out on her initial pass.
Giles had 21 points in the first half of this game.
Giving some hand signals to her team. Looks like she's telling him to attack that New Zealand wall. She squeaks by on the inside, picking up 5 more points for the ladies in green, Team Australia.
Power Jam is over. Anna Paviover back on the track. Giles through. Another 5 points for Australia.
New Zealand kind of sort of giving a little bit of an assist to Anna Paviover. She's trying to make her way. Oh, she gets knocked down on the outside straightaway. And now she is going in for a low block to the notorious RED penalty box.
Yeah, that's one of those unfortunate penalties where you get knocked to the ground and someone comes right over top of you and trips. It is a low block, but man, do they suck. It sucks when you take those penalties. Didn't do anything.
Definitely not intentionally, but that's the way it works sometimes. Giles managing to barely stay in bounds. She steps out, calls it off. 3 more points on that last pass for Australia. A team timeout is being called. I do believe it is being called by New Zealand.
Does look that way. 3 more points. Yes, that'll make it 23 points on that jam. Chaotic jam.
Indeed, and quite the score. New Zealand at 20, Australia 174. 24 minutes left on the clock during this timeout.
Now we talked about Australia being a dominant team at this World Cup. They started out, they beat Italy 513-5, Belgium 349-24, and then Greece 449-17. Huge scores during the round robin bracket. Came out against Scotland in the play-in bracket, 414-35 there. That ranked them 4th overall. Shows you how difficult it is to get ranked highly in the World Cup seeding brackets when a close to 400-point differential is only good enough for 4th place.
My goodness.
And now really taking it to New Zealand, 154-point lead in this game with 24 minutes remaining.
And while we have a little bit of time left, I want to thank another sponsor, the Blood and Thunder training camps, which are starting up again, coming back into 2015. Let our trainers help you reach your derby goals by taking you to the next level. For a camp near you, go to bloodandthundermag.com.
Jam underway, power start for Christy Demons and Team Australia.
Australia going for a little passive offense, letting Demons push her way through the New Zealand 3 wall. She goes down right there on the outside. Gets pushed out again, having to reset. And now Anna Paviover back on the track for New Zealand, going up against the Australian 4 wall in back. And look at that, number 14, Christy Demons out and lead jammer for Team Australia.
We actually have 5-on-5 roller derby going on the track. The notorious RD penalty box is empty.
A rare thing in this game.
It has been rare. Christy Demons through for another 5 points. Still stuck in that back as Anna Paviover, and Christy Demons coming around on another scoring pass.
Anna Paviover drafting Christy Demons out and trying to give a hit, and she gets a penalty for that.
Yeah, that was a forearm penalty, so now it's turned into another power jam for Christy Demons. Again, you got to wonder if the passion is just getting a little bit into the New Zealand blood, a little bit too much. They really want to compete against their natural rivals, the Australians. And they're just pushing just a touch too hard, taking it to the limits.
Especially since I've heard a lot of talk this weekend about how different New Zealand has been for this World Cup compared to the first World Cup, where they were definitely a very unpolished team, I would say, and a lot of passion then, and we're still seeing that passion with a little more teamwork, but the passion in this particular game is really not working to best effect for them, unfortunately.
Power Jam is over for Christy Demons. Time just about out on the clock. 20 points already put up in this jam. She's looking for one more scoring pass.
Christy Demons squeaking through for another 5 points at the end of that jam. New Zealand still at 20, Australia 199. 21 minutes, 47 seconds left in the game.
That's right, and we were talking about New Zealand. New Zealand came in and again dominated Norway 218 to 59, dominated South Africa 315 to 11, beat up Wales 250 to 60, and then took out Netherlands to get to this 5th place seeding 356 to 91. Both jammers on the track for this jam. Mackenzie versus Mad Melorina.
Mackenzie caught up in the back, but now she is being sent to the notorious RED penalty box for a back block. Mad Melorina, number 505, out and lead jammer for Team Australia, coming up on her first scoring pass.
So a lot of blocker penalties for New Zealand in the first half, but it's the jammer penalties really killing them early on in the second half.
A lot of frustration. Again, that passion, and it's revealing itself as frustration on the jammers, and I don't know if it's because they're not getting enough assists or the Australian walls are just that good.
We know the Australian walls are good. We have seen them in action, but yes, I can understand the frustration, but just need to get a little bit more composure. Got to stay out of that box.
Mad Melorina comes up to that front wall of 3 New Zealand defenders in the front, does a little twirl with her hands and says, I'm going to call it. Thank you very much. Picking up 2 more points for Team Australia, bumping them up over 200 points to 206. New Zealand with 22, 20 minutes, 20 seconds left in this game.
Nisbet Smith was throwing heart signs to her bench at the end of that jam there. She was pretty pleased with the result of having Mad Melorina call that thing off. Shortstop going up as the jammer on the track will get Mackenzie back momentarily. There she goes. Power jam's over.
Mackenzie facing a 2-wall in the back. Tui Lyon, part of the big brace of that wall there. And shortstop having a tough time getting out, hit down. Bridging is happening. Shortstop gets out. She does get lead jammer for Team Australia.
Forearm penalty for Porore. She'll join Saunders in the Notorious RD penalty box. Calamity Mame also going there.
I was going to say, and the penalty parade continues.
Just when you thought it was clear. So it's going to be a 3-on-2 pack advantage for Australia when we get the next jam underway. The score currently 210 for Australia, 22 for New Zealand. New Zealand able to pick up 2 points over the last couple jams. Look at that. Ooh.
Oh my.
We're going to see some people disappearing soon. Tank U's got 6.
That's right. Porore has 5, and there was another skater with 5 on the New Zealand side. And Tui Lyon, number 88, has 5 herself on the Australia side. And we now have a power jam in favor of Team New Zealand as Giles goes to the notorious RED penalty box.
So a huge opportunity for Lady Trample to regain some New Zealand pride for her squad. Australia does not want to let her out of that pack.
Amdahl and Amdahl and Polly Crackers doing their best, holding her in. Now the Australian 2-wall becomes a 3-wall. Lady Trample has Bisexual to beat at the front. She's trying to push her way through, but Bisexual known for just that ridiculously good defensive prowess.
And you mentioned Amdahl and Polly Crackers. They are teammates on Sun State Roller Girls, so no surprise that they work really well together out there. Saunders right back to the Notorious RED penalty box. Giles having to reset as this power jam is over.
Giles squeaking through on the outside. But a track cut has been called. This is now back to a power jam in favor of New Zealand. New Zealand picking up some points on this jam as well.
That's right. They picked themselves up a nickel, go to 27. Australia at 210. It will be a power start. I believe a full power jam. Full 30 seconds still on the clock. Evil Knievel will take the line for New Zealand.
New Zealand also lining up on that cheese ball bearing start line along the back there.
This Crunchville chatting with their jammers, setting up a play, I assume.
Leaving that outside open, she comes up on the Australian 3-wall, gets an assist from number 19, Miss Crunchbull. And Jennings, number 415, also giving an assist and then dropping back.
Yeah, Jennings doing her absolute best to try to open up that inside line, but Australian blockers so quick to adjust to any attack on their defense.
Tui Lyon back on the track, getting caught behind a wall there of New Zealand, and now we have a track cut penalty on number 38, Evel Knievel. She takes a seat in the notorious RAD penalty box. This is now a power jam in favor of Australia. Giles back on the track.
Lots of time left in this jam. Again, Australia at 210, New Zealand at 27. Here comes Giles into the pack.
New Zealand has all their blockers on the track for the moment. Giles gets pushed out. The track cut is drawn by Hannah Jennings.
You got it, ninja cut drawn by Hannah Jennings.
Hannah Jennings like, yes, I nailed it.
Yeah, and you can see it. She was just watching. As soon as one foot stepped out of bounds, the absolute race back on the outside. Ninja cut.
Evel Knievel back on the track for New Zealand, trying to get by the 2-wall in back there. Trying to come down the middle, meets the chest of Bisexual.
And New Zealand content to allow their jammer to work all by herself. And man, with that blocking defense of Australia, I'm not sure that is the wisest option.
I would not have done that if it were my team, but I'm not on the track, so what do I know? Giles back on the track herself. You see a multiplayer block being called on Hannah Jennings for New Zealand. She reports to the penalty box. Giles through for 5 points for Team Australia.
Yeah, Bisexual and Tui Lyon just throwing down a clinic at the front of the pack, showing how a braced arm 2-wall works perfectly using the Australian defensive stylings, holding back the jammer from New Zealand. 2:19 for Australia, 27 for New Zealand, halfway through the second half.
That's right. Interesting in that jam that New Zealand had those power jam opportunities. Were not able to capitalize on that very much. They did let Australia set the pace of the pack, and Australia likes a slow pack.
Yes, they do. That grinding defense is just devastating to the stamina of everyone.
Team Australia getting another lead jammer in the form of 14, Christy Demons. Number 111, Serious Crash Unit jamming for New Zealand, still caught up in the pack on her initial pass. Demons through for 5 points for Team Australia.
Christy Demons just so fast. As soon as she's out the front of the pack, she's almost at the back already looking for more. Comes up against Tara Santana. Jennings out of the box. 4-wall at the back now for New Zealand.
Serious Crash Unit making it out of the pack on her initial pass for New Zealand. Demons looking around, seeing Crash Unit just as she's coming up on the pack, quickly calling it off for Australia. She picks up 2 points, but Serious Crash Unit picking up a point herself at the very end.
Yeah, she got a single just as a penalty was being called against the Australian blocker. 226-28 is the score.
13 minutes, 30 seconds left in this game on the cheese ball bearing start line. For the first time, I believe, in this game, number 41, Hargiv for Australia, going up against Bro, Ivy Knivy.
Yeah, that is the first jam for Hargrave. We'll see how she does. Lead jammer.
Ivy Knivy also out of the pack for New Zealand. Australia at the front of the pack. Nice work by Hargrove, taking that out. Hargiv taking the outside line, picking up 4 points, but not before Ivy Knivy picking up 2 points herself for Team New Zealand.
Nice work on the part of the Victorian Roller Derby League skater, playing for her home country of New Zealand. New Zealand now at 30 points to the Aussies' 230-200-point gap. Easy announcer math on that one, Tara.
Even I can figure that out, and I don't count very well. back on the cheese ball bearing start line. It is number 54, Lady Trample for New Zealand. She's out in lead jammer, and she's going up against 505, Med Malorina, who is at the back of the pack behind the New Zealand 3-wall.
Yeah, Med Malorina thought there was a direction of gameplay against one of the blockers that knocked her out of bounds. She was indicating to the ref that she wanted a call. In the meantime, New Zealand jammer got all the way around the track and started scoring points. Just get back on the track. That's what I say.
Lady Trample through, picking up 5 points for Team New Zealand, coming through for a second scoring pass, and of course meets Bisexual.
Hello, Bisexual.
Again.
Another 4 points for New Zealand, though. Nice jam for the Kiwis. 39 points to the 230.
11 minutes, 37 seconds left in this game. I want to give a quick shout out to Always Again. Do you have too many Derby t-shirts?
Is there such a thing?
Why not take a break from those Derby logos and get something completely different? Stylish t-shirts and beanies from Always Again. Visit them online at alwaysagainusa.com.
I'll have to take a look.
Also want to say thanks to Fast Girl Skates. I want to give a shout out to all their customers all over the world, and especially the military folks stationed at APOs across the globe. Your military discount code is always honored at Fast Girl. Visit us now at fastgirlskates.com and let our experience fuel your passion.
Just a little bit of maintenance work going on. Checking the track, making sure everything's good. And I imagine checking that penalty scoreboard, making sure that anyone who's close to fouling out is tracked properly. Don't want them getting 8 or 9 penalties, do we?
Yeah. We haven't seen anyone leave yet, so that is a good thing. A couple more shout-outs to a couple more sponsors. Big thanks to Bont Skates. We have seen a lot of Bonts here all weekend long. All sorts of skaters from all sorts of teams. Love them Bont Skates. You should check them out. They are fabulous. And big thanks to Juice Wheels for being the sponsor. They have a little booth here with a little umbrella, which is nice to cut the glare from the overhead lights sometimes if you need that. And also big thanks to Skate Geek for sponsoring the Roller Derby World Cup.
And I'm going to give a shout out to everyone sitting at home who has purchased this broadcast for supporting Roller Derby online broadcast. Without you, people like Tara and I would just be sitting talking to ourselves. And as much as we like to do that anyways, we prefer to think that there's someone else at the end of this wire, even if you're you're probably on Sunday, most of you. If you're watching from New Zealand and Australia, hello in the future. Woo!
The crowd is getting a little surly out there.
A little surly, a little antsy. It's been a long day of roller derby.
And again, there's still one more game tonight after this one on track 3. Please be sure to check into that and see the Netherlands take on South Africa. That'll be the last game for both of those teams this weekend.
All right, track seems to be okay. Looks like we can get action underway once again. Both jammers on the track. It's going to be Anna Pavey taking the star for New Zealand and number 6, shortstop for Australia.
New Zealand building that back wall on the cheese ball bearing start line. Anna Paviova squeaking her way through. She does get lead jammer for Team New Zealand.
So some success made in this game for New Zealand, able to put some points up on the board, get those lead jammer statuses.
Shortstop out of the pack as well. Anna Paviova trying to transition herself around. She gets pushed out of bounds. She picks up 3 points, calls it off just in the nick of time before shortstop is able to score any points on that jam.
That tough tangle with Calamity Mame meant a low block. It's going to send her to the box.
And we have a score update. England versus Sweden, 246-58.
Do we know if that's a final or no? Game's still on.
5
minutes ago, but it does look like England has a good shot at beating Sweden, unless Sweden has some really big jams. Ivy Knivy taking the star for New Zealand, fighting against 2 wall now, 1 wall at the front. And she's out in lead jammer once again for New Zealand.
Number 14, Christy Demons, the jammer for Australia, getting caught up behind that brace 3 wall of New Zealand, having to reset behind Terror Satana. Nice work on the New Zealand side. Ivy Conivey through for 5 points. Christy Demons making it out of the pack on her initial pass. They are neck and neck. Terra Satana putting one last bump on Christy Demons, preventing her. Oh, Christy Demons getting 2 points on that pass.
Yeah, Christy Demons managed to pick up a double, yes. 232 for Christy Demons. Well, not just for Christy Demons. Her team. Oh, look at that. We're checking the scoreboard, checking the penalty board. No one's fouled out yet. Sure looks like someone will.
3 skaters at 6 on the New Zealand side, and at least 2 more at 5, also on the New Zealand side. Hargrave jamming for Australia, getting through and getting lead, and it is now a power jam in favor of Hargrave and Australia.
Yeah, it was a high block that sent McKenzie to the box.
Nice reforming of the wall by New Zealand, forcing Hargrave out. She waits for an assist in as she goes in to attack that wall again. Now Australia going for a more passive offense, making Hargrave work for those points.
And she is having to work. Nisbet Smith and Renee Brown really bashing her around in that pack. She gets through for 5, but man, that's got to be sore.
And now we have McKenzie back out. She's out on her initial pass. Hargrave makes it through for another 4 points for Australia, calling it off. 8 minutes, 8 seconds left in this game. New Zealand 47, Australia 241.
So now the question is, can the pride of New Zealand manage to keep the score to less than a 200-point differential as time ticks down in this game? Not likely able to win it, but yes, lots of national pride left on the line. Evel Knievel taking the star for the Kiwis. And that's Mad Ballerina for the Roos.
Australian back wall on that cheese ball bearing start line, effectively holding back Evel Knievel. But Mad Mel not making it out quite yet. Trying to get through that 3-brace wall that New Zealand is building at the front of the pack. They are all over her, but not enough to keep her from getting lead jammer status for Team Australia.
So hard to hold back Mad Ballerina.
Yeah, it is. Mad Mel on her first scoring pass. She gets through. 5 more points for Team Australia. Evel Knievel still trying to get through. She makes it out on her initial pass, getting by number 12, Omdahl.
Mad Ballerina indicating she wants 3. Let's see how many she's going to get. We don't know. They're discussing it in the pack. And it is 3 points, Mad Ballerina will be happy. Mad Ballerina has this amazing ability to just rotate around blockers when she gets hit. She just goes shoulder to shoulder with them, uses that momentum and just swings right around them. Nothing the blocker can do. It looks like they've got a nice solid hit on her, and she just uses that agility, that ability to spin so quickly to get her way past blocker after blocker time and time again.
Holy crap, the inside line left completely wide open for number 6 shortstop. She gets out and gets lead jammer for Australia. Number 54, Lady Trample, having to take the hard way through. She is still working on her initial pass, and that is 5 points for shortstop and Team Australia.
Shortstop has an amazing ability to accelerate using that toe stop run and just blast her way through any gap that she can see. She can switch from full speed skating to toe stop run right back to it, and showing the agility there as she calls it off. 4 more points. Fantastic performance for the jammer from Australia.
That was unreal. 5 minutes, 40 seconds left in this game. New Zealand with 47 points. Australia 258. I want to give a quick thanks to Crazy Skates for being a sponsor of the Roller Derby World Cup, as well as Roller Derby Elite. And even a quick shout out to Derby for All.
Jam underway. Ivy trying to take an outside line, tumbles to the ground over one of her own blockers. That's going to give an opportunity to Christy Demons to get out of the pack first, but it is a misconduct to Christy Demons. She goes to the Notorious RED penalty box. She'll be joined there momentarily by Ivy
For track cut. So again, we have a revolving door on the Notorious RED penalty box. This is now a 2-minute jam. 4-wall of New Zealand in the back, meeting Demons on that apex. Pack is beginning to speed up as Demons makes her way through. One to beat. That is her initial pass. And now there's only 2 Australian blockers. Oh, now back to 3 Australian blockers on the track to New Zealand's 4. And Biceptual just mixing it up, getting all over Ivy Knivey. Ivy Knivey stepping out, having to reset behind. And confusion is reigning.
Almost a track got waved off by the jammer ref. Direction of the gameplay is going to send Brown to the Notorious RED penalty box.
Christy Demons making it through, picking up 5 points for Team Australia. Ivy Knivey.
Star pass.
Haven't seen too many of those this half.
Not a lot of them. That's going to be Perore being the jammer of record now. Pivot turn jammer.
Going up against the Australian 4-wall, and she's trying to twirl her way around that wall, and they're on to her tricks. Christy Demon coming up on a 3-wall of New Zealand in the back. And number 4, Calamity Mame, trying to give the assist and open it up. And we're just going to fall down on the track right now.
That's right.
Which is what I would be doing if I were playing this game.
Yeah, the Samantha's probably still quite cool, and these skaters have already played a full-length game today. This is both of their 5th games this weekend. Yes, the first 3 were shortened games. That doesn't mean they were any less intense. It just means you can put more output into a shorter span of time, that's all.
That's right, you had to throw everything into overdrive with those shortened games. New Zealand at 47, Australia 271, 2 minutes, 46 seconds on the clock, and the clock is stopped. We have a timeout.
It's an official timeout. I wonder if it has anything to do with the penalties that have happened in this game, because there sure have been a lot of them, and last time we checked that penalty board, there were a lot of 6s on it.
There were a few skaters in penalty trouble, so we will find out in a second what this timeout is about. And in the meantime, I want to say thanks to another sponsor of the Roller Derby World Cup, Notorious Gear Deodorant by Notorious RED. 100% natural ingredients to punch out 100% of your gear stench. Order it for yourself at notoriousred.com. And we see cheerleading going on.
That is some nice cheerleading. That's hardcore. That's got choreography and everything. So the word is that Canada and England will have a rematch at noon tomorrow with a 2-3 to see who goes to the gold medal game. Looks like it's going to be Australia and USA at 10 in the morning tomorrow. See who the other championship team will be. This jam is underway, though, Tara.
Number 41, Hargrave, jamming for Australia, trying to push her way through. She gets pushed into the infield, resetting behind number 54, Lady Trample. Lady Trample being sent to the Notorious RED penalty box. Australia taking the passive offense, trusting Hargrave to push her way through, and she does. She does grab lead jammer for Team Australia.
So exhausting for jammers to have to work against those front walls all by themselves. And here she goes again. A little bit of an assist there. That time from Calamity Mame. Made things a little bit easier for her. 5 points.
Just enough of an assist. And it really does. I'm noticing in the game overall this year, it's these smaller movements, whether it's for the jammer or the blocker, it's these smaller things that can make a difference on getting your jammer out or drawing a penalty on another player. It's very interesting how precise this game has gotten.
Finally through Ivy Conivy for Team New Zealand. Jam's going to get called off. 4 more points put on the board. That's going to bring Team Australia up to 280 to the 47 of New Zealand. And you're right, Tara, that you do see those little precise imperfections thrown into. I mean, you see these tough, strong diamond walls that I like to call it crystalline defenses that are so tough to shatter, and jammers just get hung up on them. And if you can just introduce a little bit of chaos into the structured system that they have out there, it makes life so much easier for your jammer. They don't get beat up, they don't get tired as easily.
And less penalties as a result. Number 505, Mad Melorina, jamming for Team Australia up against 111, Serious Crash Unit for New Zealand.
Mad Melorina getting cycled back by number 64, Perore.
And Serious Crash Unit facing her own troubles at the front of the pack. Mad Mel taking the outside line, gets pushed out of play. She does not have to reset behind Mackenzie because Mackenzie went out as well. She does not get lead jammer though. No pass, no penalty.
Bisexual once again. Lead jammer though. Lead jammer picked up. You are correct.
That's right, for Serious Crash Unit from New Zealand. New Zealand in the back of the pack. That's not where they need to be. Serious Crash Unit taking that outside line. Manages to stay in bounds. Picks up 4 points for Team New Zealand.
I think the New Zealand bench wanted her to call it off. Time's ticking down this period. They have a timeout that they could use to get one more jam in, but I don't think she knows that she's supposed to. Period clock is done. We're on the jam clock, Tara. This is officially the last jam of this game.
Serious Crash Unit coming up against the braced 3-wall of Australia. Mad Mel through the pack for 4 points for herself and Team Australia. 5 points for Serious Crash Unit as she calls it off. But as you pointed out, Captain Lou, the period clock has run out. The unofficial final, New Zealand 56, Australia 284.
So solid performance by the Australians. You knew they were going to bring it. You saw how well Victorian Roller Derby League played during playoffs. You know that there's other leagues in Australia that we don't get to see a lot in North America that have stellar players, as indicated by Shortstop, who is, I believe, the top scorer in this game for Australia and just has been a dynamo all weekend long. So you add her in there with a lot of the Victoria skaters, and all of a sudden you have an even better squad. New Zealand, I think, they came out with the haka, very passionate, very focused, very emotional, and that may have worked against them in this game. A lot of times you want to bring emotion to a game, you want to play with some emotion, but controlled emotion. And I think it got away from New Zealand fairly quickly because they were just trying so hard. They wanted to compete with Australia so much. They really wanted to get to that next level. But let's be honest, they finished 5th. They were the 5th seed. That's an improvement for New Zealand over their last performance. And you see in the results during the round robin, they were a dominant team at this World Cup. Not quite into the top 4 yet, but very impressive performance. And I don't know that there's any other team that did not make it to the Final 4 that would be able to beat New Zealand. I've been impressed by the Kiwis. I hope to see them back at the next World Cup.
Indeed, they did a fantastic job. And again, there was such a huge difference between their first appearance at the first World Cup and this appearance. They have impressed a lot of people, and I expect nothing but further improvement from that country. And the same with all of the countries that are here. Again, this is as much fun as it is to watch. It is the best learning experience for all of these teams, and just to spread the knowledge, the strategery, as I like to say, and the skills that these newer countries that are introduced to Derby are getting. So it's really, even though technically they lost, they still win.
That's right. And yes, getting to see all the Southern Hemisphere teams, the South American teams, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, it's so valuable for the roller derby community. I treasure it because what can you say? When will you ever have a chance to see 30 countries competing at a tournament? It's ridiculous, really, when you think about it. Just the number of people who have traveled from around the world to come to Dallas, Texas, to come together to put together this fantastic event. Tara, it's been great calling this one with you.
This has been a fantastic experience, Captain Lou, and we want to remind everybody there is still one